I'd like to call the regular meeting to order. Clerk of the board, please call the roll.
Emerald? Here. Lopez Zepeda?
Here.
Segura? Solis?
Present.
Aguirre?
Here.
This is a point on the agenda where members of the public may address the board on matters posted for the special meeting in accordance with Government Code Section 54954.3A. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public to directly address the legislative body concerning any item that has been described in the meeting notice for the meeting before or during consideration of that item. Each person wishing to address an item on the meeting notice in closed session will have 2 minutes to do so.
There are no speakers, Mr. President.
If there's no further communication, I will recess the meeting for the consideration of the following closed session items. Looks like 5 of them. Public employee evaluation, appointment transfer, Government Code Section 54957. 2, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, Government Code Section 54957. 3, conference of legal counsel, existing litigation, paragraph 1 is subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9. 4, conference of legal counsel, anticipated litigation, paragraph 2 is subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956. And 5, conference of labor negotiator, Government Code Section 54957.6. We will now adjourn to closed session. I'd like to reconvene the regular board meeting. Clerk of the board, please call roll.
Arencibia? Emerald? Lopez Zepeda?
Here.
Segura?
Here.
Solis?
Present.
Aguirre?
Here.
Carriaga?
Here.
Thank you. We'll now have a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Maybe we could get our outgoing student representative, Lila, to lead in that. Thank you.
Right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At the board met in closed session. Preceding this meeting, we discussed the following issues. 1, public employee evaluation, appointment transfer, Government Code Section 54957. 2, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, Government Code Section 54957. Comments with legal counsel, existing litigation, paragraph 1 of subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9. 4, comments with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, paragraph 2 of subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9. And last 5, conference with labor negotiator, Government Code Section 54957.6. The board took the following action, moved by Emerald, seconded by Solis, to approve the appointment of Ulysses Hernandez as principal of Rancho Del Rey Middle School with a vote on CBA yes, Emerald yes, Lepos Cepeda yes, Segura yes, Solis yes. Correction, Adencibia absent. Thank you for that clarification. Superintendent, moved by Solis, seconded by Emerald, to approve the appointment of Elizabeth Wong as principal, Granger Junior High School, with a vote of Adencibia absent, Emerald yes, Lopez Cepeda yes, Segura yes, Solis yes. Moved by Emerald, seconded by Segura, to approve the appointment of Richard Grove as interim principal, Alta Vista Academy, with a vote of Adencibia absent, Emerald yes, Lopez Cepeda yes, Segura yes, Solis yes. Moved by Solis, seconded by Segura, to approve the leave of absence, reduced workload program participant for 1 certificated employee with a vote of Adencibia absent, Emerald yes, Lopez Cepeda yes, Segura yes, Solis yes. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda for the June 26, 2023 regular board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Emerald? Yes. Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Carriaga?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
Okay. Let's get to the good stuff. The board is very proud to recognize our student board representative, Ms. Lila Carriaga, for her stellar service this past year. She was instrumental in launching the first ever Mental Health Youth Leadership Summit this past April. She regularly met with the ASB presidents and brought their praise and concerns to the board for consideration. We thank her for her leadership, her passion, and her commitment to representing all students in the district, and we wish her the best in her senior year. Please help me in saluting and honoring Ms. Lila Carriaga. We have a plaque to give you, but I certainly would like the board members to chime in if they could on what her experience. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, President Segura. Ms. Carriaga, thank you for your insight, your care, and your dedication to this position. And please keep us updated and posted on your mental health youth leadership committee or program that you have. We really appreciate everything you've done, and we know our district is in good hands. You're amazing, so thank you.
Great. Trustee Lopez Cepeda.
I would like you to know how much I appreciate your work, and especially appreciate the way you helped me out when I started. because I couldn't even turn on or off the microphone. Thank you so much for everything that you do, and I know that your future endeavors are going to be gracious and helpful to everyone. Thank you.
And if you don't mind, I'm just going to chime in too.
Please.
You were very thoughtful, and your process was cogent. We could not have had a more meaningful and important topic to focus on in this district than mental health in the last couple of years anyway. Many of our students, our staff, teachers are struggling through issues involving COVID, post-COVID issues, and on school campuses with young people who are coming into their own and are struggling with who they are and where they're going, and then family issues come into play as well. So I thought it was really quite insightful on your part to say, let's get a program going, and let's let each of these students know that they're not alone, that many of their friends, their classmates, may be struggling just the way they are, and to be able to talk about it and meet with others who are struggling and challenged to rise above these issues is really an important piece of them, what they are able to learn and how they're able to grow through this school experience and going into their adult life. So you're making a difference, a very real difference. And thank you very much. I also have good feelings about where you're going, that you don't have delusions about what life is like out there. What you have a real sense of the struggle that people go through, and how working together can help people overcome those struggles. So thank you, not just to your contribution to this board, but thank you for the intelligence, the wisdom, and the empathy that you bring to this district every day. So you take good care, all right? See you around campus.
Superintendent?
Thank you, President Segura. Likewise, Lila, I want to say thank you, and what a wonderful example you are of what the great work that our students can do in our district. You are a wonderful role model, paragon, with your efforts to support your fellow students and your community. So I wanted to extend my gratitude for your service, and what a wonderful way to really provide this service coming out of the pandemic, which has a lot of needs, and you, I think, went to the core of those needs to support your fellow students, and I think you're a wonderful example and a paragon for the rest of our students. So thank you for your service.
And I will add, and we have one public comment on this, but I will add that I really appreciate, echo all of my colleagues, what they just said, but I truly appreciate the work and the time you put into this and meeting with your fellow presidents and also, you know, you and your votes. And your votes weren't always the way I voted, but it didn't matter. I truly appreciated that you thought of it on your own, and you cared enough and researched it enough to think, no, I think it should go the other way. So I truly appreciate and admire that in you, and as well as your genuine caring for all students, and I truly appreciate that. So thank you. And then, Deanne?
Yes, we have one speaker, Ms. Shelby-O.
I was trying to silence. Ms. Carriaga, I appreciate and respect the student voice and perspective that you share at each board meeting. Your words play an important role in reminding each of us, leadership and staff, of the reason why we are here, which is to create a safe environment for students to thrive and succeed. I'm thankful that you often remind us of where we can and should do better for students. I know it's not often easy for adults to hear, especially from students, where we need to improve, but I, for one, can truly appreciate your words, and you inspire me to want to do better and to choose to do better. On behalf of the Sweetwater Counseling and Guidance Association and all the counselors in this district, I would like to thank you for your service as student representative on the school board, for your work on the mental health symposium, and also for helping to eliminate the stigma associated with mental health. Your work is truly appreciated and it's inspiring. And lastly, as someone who, as you know, often challenges the norms, I appreciate the research that you do when you vote. Thank you very much.
So with that, we'll come up and we'll give you, present you this plaque. And with that, I'll hand it over to Lila for comments and to introduce the new president. Thank you.
Will this be my board representative meeting on ASU presidents?
It can be if you want, or if you could just do the,
Oh.
it's up to you.
It doesn't have to be? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
so then I'll speak off the record then. I'm really grateful for everything everybody here said, and I know that usually I read off a script and it's very calculated, but every time I write something, I really mean it. And I'm glad that even if I once again did not vote the same way everybody else did, I know that you guys listened to me and you guys heard. And I think everybody here did, and everybody really valued the student voice, because I'm not here for me, even though I get this really cool plaque. I'm here for the students, and this plaque is for the students and what their voice brought to this board. So thank you so, so much. And I will let Dr. Aguirre speak, and then I'll do my thing. So, because I feel like it's a little. And okay, so then I would also like to announce the new student board representative, Isaiah Ringfield. So I think will speak a few words.
Sure.
Sorry.
Kind of nervous, but I think you can hear, right? Everyone can hear? Okay. I appreciate having discussions with students so much, and as a freshman, I just fell in love with student government because there's a lot of students who are afraid to speak out, or who feel like they can't, or who don't know all these resources that they have, or don't know about the board meeting, right? They don't know about these things that affects each and every one of them. And I'm so excited that I had the chance to be able to hear them out from every school, middle schools, wherever, and execute. So I'm excited. That's all. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. We'll now have a message from Superintendent Dr. Moises Aguirre.
Thank you, President Segura. Good evening and buenas tardes to everybody. Welcome to our June 26th board meeting. I hope this message finds everyone doing well. This evening's update will be rather brief since we met 2 weeks ago and it's summer break. Since our last board meeting, a number of us had an opportunity to meet with the police chief from the city of San Diego to continue to build a collaborative relationship amongst the San Diego Police Department and our district. So I want to extend my gratitude and thank you to Chief Naislet for working constructively with us. We also had an opportunity to raise, for an inaugural occasion, the Juneteenth Day flag as well as the Pride flag. I wanted to make sure I extend my gratitude to all of our staff and community partners who helped make this happen. Thank you to everybody, and we look forward to doing it again next year. We also like to extend my appreciation to Congressman Juan Vargas and his staff. for inviting me to participate in a local visit by Melody Gonzalez, who happens to also be an alumni of Bonita Vista High School, but she is currently the executive director of the White House Initiative on Advancing Educational Equity, Excellence, and Economic Opportunity for the Hispanic Community. Thank you for that session that was hosted recently in National City. And I think it means a great deal to have the White House paying attention to what's happening right here in San Diego County as they're looking to expand on this initiative of the president. So thank you to Congressman Vargas, to Melody Gonzalez, and also to the White House for continuing to support this initiative, which helps our community. Additionally, a big shout out to all of our Employee Association presidents who joined us for this year's Labor Management Institute, which is organized by the California Department of Education Foundation, right here in San Diego last week. It was a great opportunity to find a space to dialogue about our work moving forward. So thank you to all of our associations, SCA, SCGA, CSEA, NAGE, Cabinet, as well as the trustee who was there joining us at this conference, and everybody else who helped make that happen. I think it's important to have a space where we can come together to have constructive dialogue. I think that's always important as we seek to move our district forward to support our students and our employees in our community. And lastly, I want to wish everybody a safe summer vacation. Hopefully everyone has an opportunity to recharge their energies to return for the 23-24 school year more ready than ever. Thank you for your ongoing support and your unwavering dedication to the students, staff, and families that we serve. Gracias por la oportunidad de servir. Buenas tardes.
Thank you, Superintendent. And now we'll get the official report from Ms. Laila Cariaga. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. There wasn't an AZ meeting because they are all on a summer break. They're going to their summer jobs, or they are preparing for their future now as an adult. That being said, I am also departing, so I am passing the torch to Mr. Ringfield, the new student board representative. I am a junior, so I'm leaving the district. I'm not leaving the district just yet. You can't get rid of me just yet. Okay. But I plan to continue my work with the district and in our community as a student for students. Thank you for all your support and compassion you all have shown me, and I plan to move forward with that message that you all have shared me right now. And off the record, once again, thank you so much for everything you guys have done. And I know that I wrote on a script, and I usually read off a script, but I meant I've said this, I just said this right now, but I've meant everything, and I really am so glad that I got this opportunity because it showed me so much, like you said, about what it's like to be making a difference. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's move to C. The board members received a copy of the CBOC annual report. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Being none, I read it, I'm sure like all you did, and I know we're having a changeover of some members. I just want to thank the past members who have served for the fine work they've done. And with that, we'll move to D. This is the point on the agenda where members of the public may address the board on any matter not on the agenda and have 3 minutes each to do so. Pursuant to board bylaw, the board hold on one second. The public address on the agenda and have 3 minutes each to do so. Pursuant to the bylaw, the board may limit the time for public comment on any single topic to 20 minutes per topic. The Board of Trustees cannot legally take action on or respond to matters not posted on the public agenda, but will refer the matter to the superintendent's office for review and report. Thank you for your cooperation.
Katina Rondo.
Thank you. Good evening. Christina Rondo speaking on behalf of every frustrated employee, parent, retiree, student, etc. I was officially notified today that my name and social security number were taken from Sweetwater files. The letter states my employer takes this very seriously. 4 months later, I don't think you took it seriously enough to notify me more timely. You do not even have it on the agenda to be discussed. Is it true Sweetwater District dropped Bitdefender and antivirus and anti-malware protection about a year ago when the IT director departed? Could that be the cause of this? After that, we had nothing protecting us. The February 2023 cyber attack, ransom, data breach, whatever you want to call it or you don't want to call it. Sweetwater District thought perhaps it better to buy that protection again, and I understand we now use Sentinel. You should have just continued to pay for all the licenses and protect everyone and never drop the ball. Instead, tax dollars are being spent on so much more as you're having to pay for the aftermath of all this mess. The security firm, credit monitoring, thousands of letters and postage. People affected are also paying, and we don't know the extent of it. Employees are receiving erroneous letters from the district at their address, yet the letter is referring to a minor, perhaps a student, and it is written to the parent or guardian of said student. So then potentially many students and employees haven't been notified. Mr. Arancibia recently praised Dr. Aguirre's handling of this entire incident, and I believe it was justification to extend his contract for an additional 3 years and to give the superintendent a raise. Yet the letter is not signed by our superintendent to perhaps place blame on someone else. Take the credit when it serves you, and if it doesn't, pass the blame to someone else. Not classy at all. We know this. You've known about this for quite some time. The incident occurred in February, but most likely we were around some months before. Cybersecurity experts state this is what is typically done. The community deserves a full report presentation at the next scheduled board meeting. We expect full transparency. Anyone listening, I do believe there's a lawsuit stemming from this, class action lawsuit. Alan Mansfield with the Consumer Law Group can be reached at 619-308-5034. Again, 619-308-5034. I would expect that this district take every precaution to protect its employees, students, families, and instead of spending all of this money correcting something that could have been easily prevented, all of this money that we're spending could help those fields that are injured, like correct the fields that our students are being injured on. Maybe like rehabilitate some of our buildings that our students and teachers have to work in. Thank you.
Mark Anthony Hall.
To your administration, to the teachers, and to the community at large. My name is Mark Anthony Hall. I'm the Executive Director of Manhood ABC, which stands for the Adolescent Behavior Challenge, and I really just met you, respect what you're doing. We work with adolescent boys, 7th through 10th grade, who have social and emotional learning deficits, learning loss, and are suffering from COVID anxiety. I am on an 8-board tour to look at people like you right in the face. If you see me right in the face, it's a community-based organization, and we're here to help the boys. I like to tell everybody before there's a pandemic, there's an epidemic. The boys are in trouble. Their fathers are in jail, they're missing, some are going on military duty, and they're just left on their own devices. And let me just say, I'm excited right now because we just finished our year working with the adolescent boys, and USD recognized that every boy that's in Manhood ABC, their grade point average went up 26%. So if he got a 60, he's in the 80s now, he got a C. They also recognized that the discipline went down 85%. No calls to mama. She don't have to get off of work to come check on her boy. He's behaving himself. No suspensions, no expulsions. And then when the kid comes to school, of course, the district gets money because he's coming to school and not ditching. So again, I'm on an 8-board tour. It's a community-based organization. My favorite saying is, I used to be a boy. I had 2 fabulous parents who were married for 64 years, but everybody has what we call age-appropriate behavior. A 13-year-old boy's brain, his frontal lobe is sometimes made out of rubber. And it just, everything you say and try to teach him just bounces off of it. So we deal with age-appropriate behavior, non-discriminatory. We also deal with individual-appropriate behavior. Everybody comes from a different family, different home. Some have 2 parents, some have 1 parent, some is grandma and grandpa. But the bottom line is that our goal is to keep our arms around him. Family around him, community around him, school around him, he has a chance to make it. And that's all we really care about. If you can, and the reason I picked 10th grade because I didn't have my own epiphanies until I was in the 10th grade. I'm the baby of my family. When I got to high school, my brother was most popular. He was hanging out with the girls. Guess what I did instead of going to class? I hung out with the girls, and I flunked algebra and history. I had to go to summer school for 3 years, but I wanted to graduate on time. That's all that matters, graduating on time. So that's what we want to do with these boys. If we get them out of high school, there's other community groups, and one thing we try to do is we try not to overpromise what we can deliver. You know, people come in and promise you in the world. We don't do that. Graduate from 8th grade, get them through 10th grade with all their credits. There's other community partners who can come in and help them move forward. But again, my goal today is to look all of you all in the face. and you see me and my face, we're here to help. I'd like to just submit this to the board. This is recommendations from other schools. I don't know who I would give this to.
Clerk
And I
Deanne.
thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Julie Walker.
Welcome, President Walker.
I'm going to be off script like Lila was. Thank you. Board President Segura, members of the board, and Superintendent Aguirre, members of cabinet. This is my goodbye. I have been president of the Sweetwater Education Association for 4 years. I came in during a fiscal crisis. I saw over 210 of my members given RIF notices the same day we shut down schools. We worked with you to figure out that fiscal crisis. We worked with you through COVID, and I appreciate that my members were safe and that the students were safe. When I came to this district in 1998, Jane McGill, I asked her during our orientation, I said, how likely is it for you guys to do some collaborative bargaining? Because I had been doing that in Humboldt-Azura as bargaining chair and as president there. And she said, not with this board. The board that I faced when I came to this district was corrupt. They were getting kickbacks. Those people didn't get caught at it. It was the next board who got caught at it. And the association worked really hard to get people who understood schools, people who were invested, who were here for the children, for the students. Because what's best for kids is what should be our mantra. And I want to thank each and every one of you, because each and every one of you has a connection with these schools. You care about our students. I thank the cabinet members because I can pick up the phone, I can talk to them if there's a problem, and things get fixed. I thank Dr. Aguirre for that openness and the ability for me to yell at him when I'm really, really angry about something. Thank you for being patient when I lose it. Not often, but when I'm really passionate, yes. So this is my goodbye. I appreciate all this time. It hasn't been easy. We haven't always agreed, but I think we have left this district in a better place than it was 4 years ago, 8 years ago, from when all of you joined the board, the senior members, Segura and Solis. So thank you very much, and good luck with next year. And I appreciate all of you.
Thank you, President Walker.
Michelle Beal.
Sorry, I'm not like Julie, you don't get my goodbye yet. This past week, I had the opportunity to take part in California Labor Management Initiative. Initially, I was a little apprehensive about attending because I was skeptical as to whether or not we as association leaders and district leadership could truly come together to have honest discussions on ways to improve our working relationships in the best interest of students and our members. I will admit I was pleasantly surprised. Everyone at the table genuinely seemed open and willing to engage in candid conversations that saw both sides willing to evaluate the other's perspectives. Did we solve all the district's problems? No. But I do believe we laid groundwork for how to move forward on accomplishing the goals we set for ourselves as an organization. If I had to share key takeaways from the table, it would be the continued ask by labor leaders for timely communication, not only from the district, but with the district. Understanding the agreements made with one association often affect other associations, the continued need for transparency and trust. Dr. Aguirre, I thank you for acknowledging that the district has and will continue to work to improve in these areas. Pause. And in looking at ways to improve in transparency, of course, at the forefront is the data breach. Last week, when the district leadership shared with labor leaders that approximately 12,000 individuals' data had been compromised, district leadership was confident that they had a handle on the situation and those affected would be notified. Labor leaders were assured that a forensics team had been hired to scour the dark web to ensure that our data was not located, and they had reported that it was not. I think that gave us all a sense of relief. Well, winner, winner, I got a letter. But The letter's actually not for me. It has my address on it, but it has a student's name on it. So I don't know who the student is and why they have my address on the letter, which now leaves me with many questions. Why is my address connected to this student? Is the notice really for me, or is it for this student? If it's for the student, how are this student's parents going to be notified? More importantly, the other question is, what other errors is the Secure Processing Center in Swaney, Georgia doing with my information? Is it appropriate for me to know that this student's information was compromised? And finally, given the new developments, I'm sure you can understand my continued concern on the handling of this situation as it relates to the data breach. I wish that I could say that mine is an isolated case, but since about 3 o'clock this afternoon, my phone has been ringing off the hook with others who have similar stories of receiving information or letters that they don't know the individuals whose name is on the letters, but it's their address. It seems that this distribution has exacerbated the situation, so I don't know how we correct it. I get that there are processes that have to be followed, but I remind us all that we're talking about potential identity theft. I'd like to share with you my
Please
own
wrap it up.
experience.
Please
Yes, I
wrap it
will.
up.
I'd like to share with you my own experience because I believe it's important for others. Because of this data breach, as I shared with you, Dr. Aguirre, I was required to send in additional documents to the state of California to process my tax filings for this school year, or for this tax year. I think it's important that the district continue to communicate with all staff everything that is happening as a result of this data breach. Thank you.
Thank you.
No further speakers.
Clerk of the board, will you please read the items being pulled from the consent agenda?
Yes, I have one change to read out. On board agenda item H5, the board item needs to be revised to include the 22-23 academic year. The superintendent's recommendation and analysis will be revised to approve the service agreement for both the 2022-23 and 23-24 academic years. The item and backup will be updated on Novus after board approval. The following items are pulled: F3 by staff, F5 by the public, G1 by staff and the public, G4 by Mr. Segura, G5 is withdrawn by staff, G10 by the public, H2 by the public, I1 is withdrawn by staff, and K4 by staff.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second?
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Carriaga?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Solis? Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
Okay, F3, report on board requests for information, policy direction to staff, and board communication. Anyone want to go? Trustee Lopez Zepeda.
Yes. Happy summer, everyone. I hope everybody's enjoying their time off. No? Okay. Buenas tardes a todos. I participated in the flag raising for the Juneteenth holiday as well as the Pride flag. And more importantly, I really enjoyed participating in the California Labor Management Initiative. And I really loved to see the cooperation that was being built, the relationships on a personal level. I got to meet and interact with cabinet members that I only see every once in a long while. So that was really great for me to start building those stronger relationships with them. And the labor union presidents as well, I met them and they now know that I am very accessible to them. And I just can't wait to see how the collaboration and cooperation among everyone is going to make our district better in the benefit of our students.
Thank you, trustee. Anyone else? I'll just have a couple quick comments. First, I wanted to say thank you to President Julie Walker for all of the service you've done, not only as a president, but as an educator and a teacher for many years. And I really hope you and your husband enjoy your retirement up north. And then welcome incoming President Lucy Ugarte. I look forward to rebuilding that relationship. And I had one other item. So I noted I'd been reading some articles about the National Assessment for Educational Progress, that scores that just came out. And I know they were overall nationally, they were down. And my request is at a future board meeting to have a presentation on what we're doing and what we can do to turn that and to support our students. I know we're doing a lot, but just a refresher on that would be appreciated. And I think that's it for me. Thank you. And if there are no other comments, we'll move to G1. F.
I have one
Thank
speaker, Michelle Beal.
When the school year started, I began noticing that each board agenda contained a number of special education settlement agreements, and I began to wonder how much are we actually spending per year on these agreements, and more importantly, why are we spending so much money on special ed and settlement agreements? By calculating the total dollar amounts of all settlement agreements, I was able to answer how much we are spending. The year-to-date total is $635,845.63. But I'm still left with the question of why, and now another question. How do we work to correct this so that we are in fact meeting the needs of our special education students and not having to continue to pay out settlement agreements? As I've said repeatedly, I understand that the staffing shortages in our district special education program are not unique to Sweetwater. But my question continues to be, what new and innovative things will the district be doing to try to attract and retain highly qualified special education staff? What will we as a district do to ensure that students with disabilities receive the necessary services that they are legally entitled to receive, such as access to an appropriately credentialed teacher trained and authorized to serve students with disabilities? I will repeat what I said in May. The board and the public should demand nothing less than providing what's right for our students. On behalf of the students with disabilities that we are entrusted to serve, as well as their families, I urge the district to prioritize the needs of students and take proactive measures to ensure that all students receive the high-quality education that they deserve. If we're truly following the mantra of what we discussed at LMI, it's taking the opportunity to look at what we've done so that we don't repeat where we're going.
No further speakers.
Thank you. Do you have any questions or comments from the board? If not, I entertain a motion for F5.
So moved.
Second.
Move to second. Vote, please.
Carriaga,
Yes.
Emerald,
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda,
Yes.
Segura,
Yes.
Solis.
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
G1.
I have one speaker. Did you want to take them first? Michelle Beal.
Upon reviewing the LCAP plan summary for 23-24 school year, as in years past, it continues to acknowledge the need for counselors, social workers, and mental health supports for students in our district. I'm pleased to see that the district continues to prioritize the needs of our students by providing access to appropriate staff and services to ensure they can be academically successful. In looking specifically at 1.4b, it states counselors continue to support students in all learning centers, Palomar High School, and Alta Vista Academy. I'm not sure if Learning Centers was an oversight or if that was simply a cut and paste that somebody forgot to correct, as it's my understanding that despite all the efforts by counselors, teachers, students, and parents to keep the Learning Centers open, the school board's decision was to move forward with the closure of the 3 remaining Learning Centers. If it's not an oversight, then yay, you finally came to your senses and finally understand the need of the population of students each of you represents. During the May Counselor Advisory Board, the topic of California graduation plan was brought up with the superintendent, and the question was asked that if legislation requires that we as a district offer the California graduation plan for another school year, should all seniors be moved to this plan, or should we continue changing plans on an individual basis? The district asked to have time to evaluate the end-of-the-year data before making a final decision, which we respected. Last week, I was informed that upon reviewing the end-of-the-year data, it appears that only about 800 seniors, or roughly 12% of the class of 2023, were changed to the California grad plan. So it was the district's decision to continue with changing plans only on an individual basis. What immediately struck me as odd was the district's failure to acknowledge that 800 seniors, who if not for the California grad plan would not have graduated, or for me, a better way to look at it, would have been ideal candidates for a learning center. As counselors, we work very closely with our students and are familiar with their needs. We always try to share our knowledge, expertise, and insight with district personnel. Unfortunately, we don't see how credit recovery during the school day with acceleration and retention coaches is an appropriate replacement for the Learning Center. Given that the district has one last year to offer a graduation plan that significantly reduces the number of credits and proficiencies, our concern is what happens to those at-risk students in the years after. Dr. Aguirre, you've been open to discussions, and we thank you for that.
No further speakers.
Okay, Superintendent?
Yes, thank you, President Segura. I believe that was an oversight, so I'll ask Dr. Alvarez upon her return to make sure she makes that correction. And thank you to Ms. Beal for pointing that out. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board on that?
Yep.
For G1? The second, yes, G1. Was there a motion? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
move second.
Move to second and vote, please.
Carriaga?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
G10?
I have one speaker, Michelle Beal.
This particular agenda item seeks to purchase 1,100 additional subscriptions for Apex Learning courses to provide students the opportunity to recuperate credits digitally to meet graduation requirements and meet college readiness requirements. In surveying the members and reviewing master schedules, did you want me to go back?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did you want to go to G4? And I
No,
can
go
back?
ahead. No,
Oh.
G10. We'll go back after you've done.
In surveying members and reviewing master schedules, it appears that Apex will be the primary method used by acceleration and retention coaches offering credit recovery throughout the day. The question for us is, in the past, how successful have our students been with Apex courses? Have we collected data to evaluate the success of this program for our at-risk students to see if in fact it was something that they made progress on? We ask that this be completed.
Thank you. Did you have any comments there, Superintendent Aguirre?
Yes, when it comes to Apex, those are licenses that are transferable, so that's part of the issue at hand, is making sure that the analysis is specific to each student as they recover their credits. But it's something that we can definitely work with Dr. Winters and Dr. Alvarez to make sure we conduct a thorough analysis and to get it as precise as possible, given the fact that these are transferable licenses, but we can definitely conduct that assessment.
Thank you. No other questions or comments? I entertain a motion for approval of G10.
Make the motion.
I'll second that. Move to second and vote, please.
Carriaga?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
All right, and then G4, excuse me, the one I pulled. So my question was on that, was I saw that the schools that were listed on there, and there's some middles, east and west, and high schools. And my question was, are the other schools, have been upgraded already, or what the overall plan is for that?
Thank you, President Segura. That's a great question. I'll ask Dr. Winters to provide some of that context. Dr. Winters?
You bet. Good afternoon. Great question. That is correct. The larger high schools already have a 2 gigabyte line, and some of those high schools there and those middle schools, which are larger middle schools, require that 1 to 2 gigabyte increase. And so, yes, the schools that are already larger are already using that 2 gigabyte line.
Okay, that was all I had. I just wanted to make sure we were all covered there, and we are. And if we have no other questions, I'll make a motion for G4.
Second.
Move to second and vote, please.
Carriaga?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes,
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
and we'll go to H2.
Yes, I have one speaker, Michelle Beal.
First and foremost, I applaud the district for continuing to put forth mental health needs of our students in our district. As you are all aware, mental health needs have grown immensely in the past few years, and counselors have felt overwhelmed. I'm pleased to see this MOU on the agenda tonight, as this will certainly assist counselors in ensuring the needs of our students are met. In speaking with several counselors in the district at the school sites who utilize Wellness Together, they found this service to be extremely helpful for our students. The counselors found that the collaboration and communication between the organization and the school site helped aid in this success. As we move into the next school year, we ask that we not only continue with the collaboration, but continue to look at ways to improve the services that we offer our students. In speaking about mental health services, I think it's also important that we look at the services that the district offers to staff and their families, which is through the EASE program and EAP. Recently, somebody called me a detective, and through my own investigation, I was made aware that the district will no longer contract with MHN as part of the EASE and EAP. I was only made aware of this when I tried to continue services. It would have been helpful that if the district was going to change providers on July the 1st, that we as employees had been made aware of it so that we didn't unknowingly incur cost after June 30th. I ask that if you could have the risk management department or benefits department, whoever it is, please provide communication to employees and also share the flyer for Evernorth so that they know what services are available to them and their families. Thank you.
No further speakers?
Thank you. Any questions or comments for H2 from the board?
Right here.
Yes,
Good point.
Trustee Emerald?
I'm just agreeing that that was a good point. We've got to make sure that we've got everybody included in that communication circle. And I'll move the item.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Carriaga?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
Thank you. And we'll move to K4.
It's a budget.
The budget.
The budget. So thank you, President Segura. As you know, this is the second reading. It was brought forward at the last board meeting for the public hearing. So with that, I'll ask Dr. Sockel to provide the updates. And again, it's my understanding based on the first reading and or the public hearing, changes to this budget are fairly minimal. Again, we continue to wait for the state to adopt the state budget for us to make sure this is finalized. But with that, I'll ask Dr. Sockel to present the item. Dr. Sockel.
Thank you, Dr. Geary, and good evening, President Segura and Board Trustees and Cabinet and Community. So this item is, as Dr. Geary mentioned, very minimal changes from our last meeting. We are still awaiting the governor's approval of the budget. And so where we stand today is the state legislature has approved a proposed budget from their perspective, holding the cost of living adjustment at 8.22%. And then they do have some reductions to those grants that we discussed last time, the Learning Recovery Grant, as well as the Arts, Music, and Instructional Materials Grant. So a lot of this is still factored based on what was in the May revision. We will await those final changes and bring to you in August any material changes. So just a brief update, and then with your approval of the standardized account code structure report, the SACS report, so that we can submit tomorrow to the county office an approved package.
Thank you. Did you have any comments there, Superintendent?
Just a general comment. Again, I really want to extend my appreciation. It really takes a governance team working with our associations, working with finance, to be able to be at this place where we now have a budget that's been stabilized. And I think, much like anything else, our work begins with Maslow, and then we can move on to Bloom. So before we can focus on those higher order thinking skills, we want to make sure that we have that safety of having that stability in our operations and in our budget. While there's always going to be a challenge, there's always going to be a question, there's things that happen, I do want to say that where we currently are right now, we're in a much stable place as it relates to the budget. And there's ongoing work with our, again, being led by Dr. Sockel and her team, but really across the board with Board of Governance, with our cabinet, with our associations. It really takes a village, if you will, to get this work right. And as we move forward, again, I would look forward to those productive and constructive conversations. But at this point, we're glad that our budget is definitely in a very stable and productive place.
Thank you, Superintendent. Anyone else? I would just say, along with that, I truly appreciate the communication and the advocacy that our board, the superintendent, our union leaders, the community have had with the legislature and the governor's office, and that hasn't stopped. And I know we didn't get everything we were hoping for, but you never do in a negotiation. So Just, that's all I wanted added in terms of what Dr. Getty added. And with that, I'll entertain a motion for approval of that, and I will make that motion.
So moved. Oh, second?
Move to second and vote, please.
Carriaga?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
And that means it's summertime for those who get days off. And we are adjourned.